They were assembling a TM31 dirt bike. After we get the packaging off of it, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put these handlebar clamps on. And the way they go on, you just take these out. You put the bolts under the bottom. Screw them back into the same hole. Once you're done, then you can go back and tighten them up. Doesn't matter which way it goes, it works both directions. And that's how you install the handlebar clamps. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the handlebars on. We've got our clamps on. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your handlebar. You're going to make sure these cables aren't twisted. You don't want them twisted up. You want them to be as straight as possible. And then you're going to take these off. So we're ready to start from there. And we're going to put our handlebar on. And you're going to line up these marks right here with the holes. Then you put your clamp on. Then you put your bolts on. Once you got these clamps on, you're going to spin this master cylinder right here. You want this to be straight because there's fluid inside here. You want that to be straight. Once you get that straight, you tighten up these bolts. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to install this ignition switch. Remember earlier I said you don't tighten these bolts, you leave them loose. You're going to take these bolts out on the right hand side. And these bolts are going to go in the bottom through here like this. Now that we got the ignition switch on, got the bolts in, you want to tighten these two bolts and these two bolts on both sides. Next thing we're going to do, you're going to take this brake caliper off. It has a bolt right here. Take this bolt out. And then you're going to drop the brakes out of the way for now. You got two bolts, one here and one there. When they go back in, you're going to go in this hole and this hole. And I'll do that here in a second. So the next thing you want to do before you put your tire on is you want to put this bolt in and put one spacer right there, because we're going to put the tire on and you're going to have to put a spacer on the other side. Now we're going to put the tire on. You're going to make sure the brake rotor is on the side of the caliper. You got your spacer right here. So you're going to put this on. You're going to slide the bolt through. You're going to put the other spacer on this side. And you're going to slide the bolt all the way through. You're going to put the washer on. And you're going to put the nut on. And then you're going to tighten them up with a 17mm and a 19mm wrench. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to put the brake caliper on. To do that, you take this bolt out. Make sure you just screw right out with your fingers. Then you want to take this little plug right here out. You want to get rid of that. That holds the brake pads apart while it's being shipped. You don't need this. You throw this away. If you look at the pads, you want to make sure the pads are spread apart. And this one is not spread apart, so we're going to have to take a screwdriver and we'll have to pry it apart or it's not going to fit onto the rotor. When your pads are not spread apart, like this one is not, as you see, the caliper is pushed out. It won't work like that. So you're going to have to take a screwdriver and put it in there and just stick your screwdriver in there and turn it. See how it's prying them out? And you want to pry it out as much as you can. Once you do that, you want to make sure that this brake rotor right here is in the middle, not on the side, in the middle of the brake pads. So if you take your finger and hold it right here, you're going to slide it over the brake pads. And then you put the bolts in. One bolt here. And one bolt here. Before you put the bike on the ground, you want to make sure that the tire turns freely, or you won't be able to tell that there's a problem when you have it on the ground. So you want to turn the tire and it should turn free. If it turns free, you're good to go. If it doesn't turn, it binds up and you put the brake pads, brake rotor on, caliper on wrong, or something's wrong, you need to go back and check and see what you did wrong. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to remove these bolts from underneath. The bolts go right here. Short bolt goes in first. A little bit. A little more. Put that bolt in right there. And then you put the nut in. And then you're going to put this on, but you want to tighten this bolt first. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put this bolt in right here, and it goes in from the right side. You'll have to get someone to raise the tire for you to get it in. And then you put this where this flat part fits right here. And then you put the nut on the other side, and then you tighten it down. Next thing you're going to do, you're going to line this bar up with this hole. And you're going to have somebody raise the tire up for you. And you're going to slide this bolt in. And then put the nut on the other side and tighten it down. We're going to install the front fender. You have to remove these two bolts right here. And there's two bolts underneath. You also have to remove those bolts to put the fender on. And you'll have to have a wrench because the factory puts them on tight. So you need an 8mm socket to do this, or a ratchet, and a ratchet. Okay, this little bracket right here that this fender mounts onto, a lot of times this gets bumped in shipping and it gets bent down. You want to take a screwdriver and you want to bend it up a little bit. If you don't, you'll have a hard time getting these screws in right here. Now that we got our bolts in, one here and one here, there's two under the bottom. And you want to take and tighten these two, and then tighten the two bottom ones, and then the fender's on. Next thing you want to do, this little bracket right here, bend it out like that. Make sure your cables and your wires are running through this bracket, because if they're hanging down here, they're going to end up getting torn. So make sure you put all these wires inside the bracket like this, and then just bend it back. That way it stays in there. Next thing you want to do is check all your connectors and make sure all the connectors are connected properly. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to put the headlight on. You have your plug. You want to plug it in first. Make sure the little latch latches or it'll come out. And on the bottom of the light, you have these little tabs. These little tabs go in these two holes right here. So you're going to put the light on. You're going to put it in those two little holes, just like that. And then you're going to take this strap right here and you're going to wrap it around the front shock and clamp it together. Next thing you want to do is put these side covers on. To put the side cover on, you're going to remove the seat. There's a bolt underneath the seat. Just take that bolt out and you can remove the seat. I already got the bolt out, that's why the seat came off. Then you're going to put these holes right here. Right here. And then the third one at the top. Once you get these screws out right here, here, and here, and you put this on, the two bigger ones go in the back. Get these three bolts in right here. This bracket right here is always facing down. You want to loosen the bolt right here and pin it up. And this bolt hole right here is going to go in your fender. I need a 10mm. Just get this bolt in, and this bolt in, and this bolt in. You want to hook this up like this. And just put that on. Once you get this bolt, and this bolt, and this bolt in, then you're going to hook up this bracket right here, just like this. Bolt goes here, bolt goes here, and then you're going to tighten them all up. You're going to do the same exact thing on the other side. Next thing you want to do is you want to pull these wires out right here, and you want to hook up your battery. You want to put the red side on the plus, the black on the minus. Don't get it backwards. It can cause problems. If you hook this up and you turn the key on, nothing happens. Always check this fuse. You just pop this open, and there's fuses right there. Just check the fuse, see if it's good or bad, and then hook up your wires. Now that you got your battery in there, make sure you put this strap on here so the battery doesn't come out and short out. And this is the proper way to hook it up. Red goes to the positive side. The black and green goes to the negative side. Got to get your battery hooked up. Then to hook the seat, you got this hook right here. It hooks right underneath here. You just slide it under there, like that, and you put your bolt back on underneath. You want to pull these stickers off. All you do is grab a corner and peel them off like that. But don't do that until after you run the bike and make sure the bike's going to run okay and there's no problems with it. Because if you have to ship it back, then you're going to get damaged.